Hello, everyone. My name is Kiara Kumar. I am a coordinator at the Student Academic Resource Center. We wanted to put together a course on how to succeed in an online course. So we wanted to talk about a couple things that will help students transition to a fully online schedule, fully online courses during this time. So we just wanted to put together some materials to help guide staff and faculty and students while we're transitioning to remote instruction. As we're starting this presentation, as I'm talking about the different areas of online instruction and how to be a strategic online learner, I just want you to take a couple minutes to reflect right now. So have you taken an online course before at any time in your schooling, whether it be at UCF or at Valencia or some other institution or any time in high school? If so, were you successful? If you were successful, what made you successful? If you hit some roadblocks, what were those roadblocks and why did you hit them? If you haven't taken an online course before, there's plenty of folks who have not ever done an online course, and this is their first time doing one. What do you think that you need to succeed in an online course, and how is it different from face-to-face learning? So to start out, there's a couple basics that you're going to need. You will definitely need a computer or some other type of device. Some people will use an iPad or something similar. You'll need a stable Wi-Fi connection. You'll need the syllabus and a thorough review of the syllabus, which we'll talk about next. And then you'll need a little bit of self-discipline. So with online courses, one of the biggest differences is that you don't have your professor telling you when things are due or telling you when to do your homework. So having some self-discipline is going to be really important when moving to online instruction. And you might want to check out this resource that has been put out by the Center for Distributed Learning here on campus. This is a really good resource that shows students some other additional tips on how to be successful in online learning. This is a handout that we use in my program. So I'm the coordinator for the Academic Coaching and Engagement Program, where students will sit down one-on-one with one of my coaches who's a UCF student. And the student and the coach will kind of go over their academic skill set and figure out what their strengths are, what areas they can improve on. And we do a lot of handouts during these sessions. So one of the things that we have here is a syllabus review. So this is really helpful moving into an online course, because this will help you really get in depth with understanding your syllabus. So understanding where the points come from, how assignments are weighted, what your grading scale looks like, if it's a plus-minus system, things about your professor, if they have online office hours, what their name is. And I like this portion here about your grade goal in the class. So this will help you not only get more in depth with your syllabus and how the course is set up, but also help you keep in mind what kind of grade you're trying to get. So as we go throughout this presentation, I've included a couple handouts like this to kind of give students a guide on how to tackle these different issues that we're talking about in the presentation. So one of the biggest things that students will have to develop if they don't already have this skill is a time management system. It's really important to create a routine. Your routine from the first half of the semester is looking a lot different from the second half of the semester as we're moving into remote instruction. So it's kind of important to be treating this online course like it is a face-to-face class. So if you had bio Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, try to take that same amount of time that you were in lecture and be using that as your online learning time. Creating some type of time management system is really important. So some students will just simply check their web courses calendar, but we encourage students to do something beyond that, such as having some type of calendar or planner, having phone reminders. You'll be on your computer a lot, so you can use a sticky notes function on your computer or actual sticky notes. So some students prefer to do a paper and pen version. Other people like online versions. So if you want to use your Outlook calendar, that's an example of using a time management system that's already online, as you'll be on your computer for a lot of your online class anyway. It's also important to be reviewing your assignments regularly, and you'll be able to find these on the syllabus, and also they'll be updated if there's any changes. They'll be updated on web courses. So it's really important to be active on your web courses daily. So this is the only way that you'll be able to find any announcements, if the professor has posted any updates. Also checking your Knight's email regularly is important, but web course is especially important for knowing that grade, knowing your assignments, knowing when they're due, submitting assignments, and seeing what kind of grades you're receiving on those. It's also a really great place to be communicating with your peers and with your professor. It could be a good idea to use web courses to find out who's all in your class if you don't know already, and figure out some type of study group that you could possibly put together. So being active on web course is a really important part of this whole time management system. I'm just going to go through a couple different handouts that we have here at the Academic Coaching and Engagement Program. So one of the most simple methods of a time management system is a to-do list. So I like this to-do list because not only does it say what the task is, but you can list it in order of priority. So what's most important? What's most pressing? Is there something that's due tomorrow instead of something that's due in 2 weeks or 3 weeks? And how long is that going to take? So if you have an assignment that's due tomorrow and it takes an hour, that might be first. But then keep in mind you might have things with finals coming up in about a month. You might have some things there related to finals that would include study time. So that might take a little bit longer. Or if you have a big paper that's due, that's going to take a little bit longer. But this is just a nice simple way to kind of see what your assignments are and when they're going to be due and how much time they're going to take, so you can map out on with your time management system how much time every assignment is going to take. This is one of our probably most widely used by students, one of our most widely used activities and coaching sessions. So this might look like a lot for some people, and it is a lot for some people, but this is something that you can modify to however you want to do it. So some students do want to map out every minute of every day, and that's something that makes them feel better, and it's something that works in their brains. Other folks prefer the system before, which is just a simple to-do list in order of priority. So in this example here, having English there and econ and chem, those blocks previously would have been times that you were actually attending a lecture. Now moving into an online course, an online format, these are blocks that you would still be devoting to your class time and to learning the course content. So maybe this would look like going through a module on web course or spending time watching lecture videos or something of that nature. So these times for your classes are still important and still built into your schedule, but they are separate from your study time, which is time when you're reviewing material, and it's separate from your homework time when you're completing assignments that are done. So even with this online format, it's still really important to be setting specific time aside to actually learn the content of your course. We also have things like lunch built into our schedule. So a lot of students might not be thinking about self-care at this time with a lot of feelings of being overwhelmed or feelings of anxiety right now. But it's really important that we're still taking our personal time for ourselves, still eating regularly, still checking in with family and friends. So kind of just making sure that you're hitting all the different areas of your life that you need to do while still mapping out enough time for your academics. This is called the EISENHOWER matrix, and this is something that can help students figure out what is important and figure out what can be set aside for later. So this is really helpful if students are feeling really overwhelmed, they have a lot on their minds, a lot on their plates. So the way the EISENHOWER matrix works is that there's 4 different squares in level of importance and in level of urgency. So the top left, important and urgent, that's something that needs to be done now. So for example, if you have a homework assignment due tonight or a quiz that's due tonight, that's something you need to do right now. On the other hand, over here, the complete opposite, not important and not urgent. Things like social media, catching up on your Netflix shows, simple things like that that are more distractions and things that are going to waste your time. So this is a helpful chart to have, and then students can fill in the different squares with what in their life is important and urgent, and kind of prioritize what's important for them. It's really important, like I mentioned in one of the first slides, to be disciplined with yourself during this time. So if you schedule regular hours to attend your online class, like the previous schedule showed with the study blocks, that's going to be really helpful in helping you succeed in that class. And studies have shown that if you attend your online course in regular blocks throughout your week, you're more likely to earn a better grade and more likely to learn the content. Sticking with your schedule will help you get into a routine. Okay, and a routine is really beneficial as we're moving into this online format. This routine is going to be what you have for at least the next month with classes, so it'll be really helpful for you to not only list out what your schedule is, but get into that routine and stay in it. And this is a really great time to have friends and family hold you accountable. So if you say that you're going to attend your class for 2 hours on Mondays and Wednesdays, maybe tell your roommate or tell a family member and have them check on you and see if you have actually done that. So it doesn't have to feel alone, although being in an online class might feel a little alone, but this is a great time to be relying on your support system. Another important thing about moving online is that you won't be coming on campus with the way things are now, and you also won't be going to class. So you need to be creating your own study environment at home or wherever you are staying. So creating some type of desk or area that is like your own classroom, your own study space, is really important. So trying to find some type of quiet area. I understand that could be hard if you're living with friends or family, things like that, but trying to find some type of area that has minimal distractions. This is going to be really important when it comes to taking tests, right? So you're going to be taking all your tests online, so it's really important that you're finding this place that does not have any distractions so that that time is not interrupted. Try to eliminate distractions that you're in control of, such as your phone, so putting it away, keeping it on silent or do not disturb. And another good idea is to let your friends and family know, or whoever you're living with, when you're studying. So tell them what your schedule is. You can show them your weekly schedule that you built out from the previous slides, and let them know when you're studying so that they're not distracting you during that time, so they know when you're available to hang out and chat and when you're really focusing on your academics. It's also important to organize your files on your computer. So you're going to be pulling up your computer or iPad regularly, as all of your classes are online now. So making sure those are sorted by class or something that's going to make sense for you, so it's really easy to access whatever you're working on at the time. If folks have been previously in a face-to-face class and they're moving online, you might have books or some other materials like that that you've gotten from class, a textbook, something like that. So having those materials out as well is going to be important. And we also encourage students to take breaks. So we understand students can't study for 5 hours at a time and really retain everything that they've reviewed. So we encourage a technique where you break for a little bit. So study for an hour, hour and a half, break for 15 to 30 minutes, and then repeat that cycle for a couple times. So it's really important that you're taking these breaks. Your brain's going to reach a point of saturation, so it's important to step away and then come back to your studies. Communication is extremely important in an online course. The words that you say online are the only indication that your professor has of you being engaged or being active in the course. Okay, so communication is huge in an online course. How often do you need to communicate in your class? This information can really be found in the syllabus, and professors will have all types of different criteria for what counts as communication. So you may need to post a certain amount of times in a discussion post. You may need to be forming peer groups and doing work with your peers. So please be checking your syllabus to see if there's any type of communication requirement for your class. And this could be transferred into a participation grade. So what was once previously a participation grade in class, there could be a different type of participation grade for online participating. We've all been using Zoom lately in our online courses and other services at UCF. So you can use this to create some type of peer study groups. That would be really helpful for communicating with your peers if you don't know who they are, and to help you guys get all on the same page about if you have any concerns or questions or confusions about the assignments. It's also really important to talk to your professor. Sometimes it's a little intimidating for students, but like I said before, this communication that you have online with your professor, that's the only way the professor knows what's going on. So if you have any concerns or confusions or questions, email your professor or talk to your professor. Also here, refer to the syllabus to see what their preferred method of communication is. Some professors prefer an email. Some professors only want you to inbox them on web courses. So it's really important that you find out how your professor prefers to be talked to, okay? And remember to use academic language and etiquette, which is etiquette on the internet. This is a really helpful link that we'll be sending out later. But even though you're moving to an online format, it's still important to be maintaining this professional language, this academic language that we're using, and avoid things like slang and lower cases and all of those things. Procrastination is one of the biggest issues with online courses, and this might be especially difficult as students are coming off of spring break and didn't ever come back to campus, and having classes move from a face-to-face version to an online version could definitely allow for some procrastination to happen here. So what causes procrastination to start with? Feeling overwhelmed, which many students may be feeling that now. Not knowing where to start. So if your classes were all in person and now they're all online, what kinds of assignments are you having and what do they look like and how have things moved online? Not knowing how to do an assignment, lacking time management skills, which we talked a little bit before. And if you're just uninterested in the topic or the content, it'll be really hard to kind of get that ball rolling there. I want to talk about a couple different ways to combat procrastination. Set goals, making a plan, understanding the cons of procrastinating. What are the consequences of procrastination? And remember why you are here to get motivated. So as we move forward here, I'm going to have a handout that's kind of associated with each one of these. The first thing I mentioned was setting goals. So this is what we call SMART goals, and that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So for example, maybe your bio class has moved online and you want to earn a B in bio. So it's a specific goal, it's measurable because you want to earn a B. Make sure it's attainable for you. Is this a realistic goal to get a B in bio? Is it relevant? Why do you need a B in bio? Do you need it for your major? Do you need it for your GPA? Do you need it for graduation? Is it a graduation requirement? And make sure it's time-bound. So setting something like getting a grade in a certain class is automatically going to be time-bound because the semester will end. But it's really important that as you're moving forward academically and kind of taking on more responsibility on your own as it's an online course, making sure that you're setting these goals for yourself. Creating an academic action plan. So this is a helpful worksheet that can be used at the beginning of the semester, but it can also be modified a little bit to work right now as we're moving through the middle of the semester. It'll list out your course, what grades that you want to earn. So again, setting these goal grades that we like, what type of study skills that you're going to need for this course. So you will need different study skills for your math class than you will for your English class. And I like this last column here, resources on campus. So with the move to online, folks at UCF have been working really hard to move all of their services and departments online so they're still available for students. So think about what kinds of resources that we're offering still that you can use. Maybe you want to get SI, or maybe you want to get tutoring or something, another service that SARC offers. Or maybe there's a different service like the Writing Center that you can take advantage of in an online format. So just try to think of different resources that'll help you get through this class. This worksheet is called a Decisional Balance Worksheet. This is a great thing to map out when students aren't feeling motivated to make a change in their behavior. So for example, if a student maybe studies 2 days before their exam, but they realize they want to study 2 weeks before their exam, this is a worksheet that you can use to map out the pros and cons, essentially, of changing that behavior. So what would be the benefit of changing your behavior to studying in advance? Well, you'd probably get a higher grade. You'd probably feel a little less stressed because you've been preparing and you know the content. The costs of not changing could be failing the class or having to retake the class and pay again. So this is kind of a nice way for students to map out the benefits and the costs of changing a behavior that's related to their academics. And if you really get stuck, remember your purpose. This could be a trying time for some students. Maybe they don't remember why they're here or what they wanted to do, or have lost vision of their goals during this time. But as this quote says, when you feel like quitting, remember why you started. So this is a nice little worksheet that you can just list out reasons as to why you are here at UCF. So maybe you are going to be the first in your family to get a degree, or maybe you really want to go to med school and so you need to pass this one class because that relates to your med school program. So this is just a nice worksheet that has some academic aspects of it, but you can also tie it to other parts of your life. I just wanted to list out some apps that will be really helpful for students at this time. So we'll be moving online. Students will be on their own more. And so these apps related to different areas of success, of academic success, can help students stay on track. So this is another thing that can help students as they're not in these face-to-face classes anymore. And we'll be sending this PowerPoint out, so you'll be able to access these apps, and we'll be putting it on our YouTube channel, on SARC's YouTube channel, so you can click right over to this screen in particular. So wrapping up this presentation, I just want you to take a minute to reflect again on some of the things that we talked about. So what is your biggest strength in taking an online course? So even if this is a new transition and you've never taken an online course before, everybody has their strengths. And try to think, what is your biggest strength when you're moving into an online course? What's your biggest area of growth in moving on to an online course? Is there something that I talked about here today that you hadn't considered? What is one thing from this workshop that you'll implement into your online academics? So what's one thing that you can take tonight, tomorrow, to put into your academics right now that will make at least a little bit of a difference for you? And what other departments, offices, or services at UCF can help you be successful? As I mentioned before, we've been working really hard as a community to come together and to still work to provide our students with whatever type of academic support they need. So just feel free to continue to reach out to those departments that could help you at this time. For more support, come to SARC. So we've moved all our services fully online starting tomorrow. So we offer academic coaching, as I had mentioned before. We're still offering tutoring, supplemental instruction. Study Union will be in an online format. And then we have our online websites as well that we've had previously. So SARC Online is really helpful. If you liked any of the handouts that you saw, you can access these handouts and a ton more on SARC Online. And then our YouTube channel where this will be posted, where all of our previous academic workshops have been posted as well. So please continue to take advantage of SARC services because we are still here to support our students. I want to thank you all for listening to this presentation. Just want to remind you to be safe and be smart and use your resources. We understand this might be a trying time for some students, but we just want you to know that here at SARC, we are here for you, and at UCF in general, we are here to support you, and we still want to be a resource to all our students on campus. Thank you.